Something that draws the attention of Belarus is the renowned beauty of its women. With 53.5% of the population being female, Belarusian women are widely admired for their captivating features and elegant bearing. In fact, there is a notable gender disproportion, with many more women than men, especially in large cities. This, added to the traditions where women usually marry relatively early, has led to an increase in tourism from foreign singles who visit the country in search of romantic prosperity. It is said that Belarusian women find men of other nationalities intriguing and attractive. With the current low levels of tourism in Belarus, those who know their way around have ample opportunities to flirt with local beauties. However, cultural and linguistic differences can pose a challenge for outsiders interested in building lasting relationships. Despite their openness, Belarusian women deeply value their traditions and tend to be cautious about getting involved with people from other countries and customs very different from their own. Some critics argue that this romantic tourism feeds harmful stereotypes and a kind of covert trafficking, where local women are commodified. Others argue that these are personal preferences and that with mutual respect, there is nothing wrong with people from different countries meeting and pairing up. Belarusian beauty is undoubtedly a controversial tourist attraction that requires intercultural sensitivity and openness to address potential ethical conflicts. What's your opinion about it? Leave your perspectives in the comments. An amazing place and a unique culture in the heart of Europe. The enchanting lakes of the north, the lush and vast forests of the central plateau, and the swamps that expand in the south as much as the vast flat plain that does not exceed 350 meters above sea level. This is just a little of what Belarus hides, whose official name is the Republic of Belarus or the Republic of Belarus, a name that is also widely accepted, a sovereign, landlocked country, and the largest in this category on the continent. Trapped between nations like huge Russia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine, with an area of more than 200,000 square kilometers and a population that exceeds 9 million inhabitants. Its form of government is a presidential republic, governed by a president and a prime minister in this order. The main religion is Orthodox Christianity, with 78% of the population. The official currency is the Belarusian ruble, and the official languages are Russian and Belarusian. Its main urban center is Minsk, which is the capital of Belarus and the most populous city in the territory. Belarus maintains a very important relationship with its neighbor Russia, so much so that Belarusians consider it indisputable in terms of foreign policy, since there are deep military, economic, commercial, social, cultural, linguistic, and family ties between both countries. In this case, both the President of Belarus and Vladimir Putin strive to always repeat themselves and consider themselves as a single people. This solidarity is so strong that they make Russia the main trading partner of Belarus, absorbing half of its international trade, thus placing Belarus as the fourth trading partner of the Russian Federation behind the European Union and China. In all aspects, Belarus is the only former Soviet republic that, since the dissolution of the USSR and its independence as a free nation, set reunification with Russia as its main foreign policy objective between 1996 and the year 2000. Both nations signed various agreements, among which the so-called State of the Union stands out. This organization stood out for several achievements in the customs field, achieving the elimination of tariffs for commercial exchanges in 2006. And until 2007, Belarus was purchasing Russian gas and oil at prices close to those of the internal market of the Russian Federation. In fact, President Lukashenko has justified many times that such commercial privileges are equitable both in the military sphere that both countries maintain? Well, it includes a unique airspace in the world and in a very certain way, making Belarus a human shield of 10 million people that protects Western Russia, and such a service has a fairly high price. The country is considered a dictatorship by all indices of democratic quality. Some time ago, there was a report by a UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights for Belarus, which condemned the unprecedented escalation of human rights violations in the territory, highlighting among the many problems the arbitrary deprivation of freedom of citizens and other issues such as torture, cruel punishments, numerous unexplained disappearances, and the total absence of freedom of expression within Belarus. In fact, today, Belarus is one of those countries that still maintains the death penalty. Since the past, these events have raised the voices of thousands of Belarusians who are uniting against the current form of government of the country. If you notice, the official flag of Belarus has a white and red decorative pattern and two stripes, one red and one green. But people have started using the white, red and white flag. The official flag of independent Belarus between the years 1991 and 1995, welcomed by the country's pro-democracy opposition, becoming a powerful symbol, and although its official use was prohibited by the authorities, confiscating it from anyone who carried it, the flag did not lose strength, as it proved to be a symbol when raised and waved, understanding that they actively oppose the current government of Lukashenko. In 2020, thousands of Belarusians took to the streets with the white and red flag after the alleged electoral fraud in the presidential elections. Since then, the flag has been used massively during civil society demonstrations. The flag of the strong Belarusian opposition. Belarus means white Ruthenia in Slavic, from the terms Beli equal to white and Rus, name of the Rus, the historical population of the Khaganate of Rus and Kievan Rus. For this reason, especially when it found itself under the rule of the Russian Tsarato, the region was called in Spanish White Russia. About 40% of Belarus is covered by hectares of green forests, as well as the last and largest section of primeval forest in Europe. Sometimes known as the lungs of Europe, the country is home to one of the last and largest remaining parts of the enormous primeval forest that once covered the European plain, the forest of Bialowieza. Bialowieza is a clear and good example of what this huge forest area once was, which is why the Belarusian flag has a green stripe inside it, representing this beautiful echo of nature. Within this enormous complex of trees is the national symbol of the country, the European bison, the heaviest land animal on the entire continent, and that it was rescued when it was on the verge of extinction in the 1950s. At that time, it is said that 2 bison were released in the Bialowieza Forest, and today it is said that the number reaches 600 animals in all the Belarusian forest. Belarus may not be a first-choice tourist destination, but Minsk is a great city to go back in time to the communist era. Being the capital of the nation, it concentrates several attractive areas at first glance. The ex-Soviet style that we find in the city is shocking. If we highlight that the original city does not exist, Minsk, it was destroyed a total of 8 times since its founding in the 10th century. But the current form of the capital dates back to the mid-20th century after being rebuilt after the end of the Second World War, as it was one of the 209 devastated cities of the nearly 290 cities that Belarus had before the Nazi uprising. But the population of Belarus gradually recovered its level until today, and the people who are in it are more. Well, many data obtained indicate that Belarusian people are extremely friendly and hospitable. They make Minsk a very important city, but also quite friendly to visit. Something incredible about Belarus is the uprising of the hundreds of cities that were razed, and the promotion of the historical buildings found in its nation. A good example of this is the Mir Castle. About 85 kilometers southwest of Minsk, in the town of Mir, is this famous castle, declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO since the year 2000. Its origins date back to the 16th century. As a fortified successor to a wooden feudal castle burned by the Tatars, this castle with its fortifications combines different architectural styles from the Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque periods. The capital is not far behind, since surrounded by the old city of Minsk is the Cathedral of All Saints, a special symbol for the most important urban center of Belarus, and a sacred site for Belarusian Orthodox Christians. This building was built in 1633 as a monastery, but throughout its life, it has experienced a checkered history of destruction, reconstruction, and closure. The cathedral, with its gleaming white facade and beautiful green roofs, offers anyone a beautiful subject to capture in photography. Reading is very important in the country, since there is no doubt that it is a very cultured nation. Its national library is a good example of this. The Minsk Library, also known as the Diamond of Knowledge, is an imposing structure, at least 74 feet high with 23 floors, and an observation deck from the top that is difficult to miss. It is recognized worldwide for its unusual shape, but the most curious thing is that the design was not the most attractive. At the end of the work, the architects in charge were asked to declare their work because it was not what they really promised. However, the design was, it remained, and today it is a highly visited place for its unconventional shape. Belarusians are very superstitious. You have to be very careful with the details. You should not whistle inside your home, or you will waste all your money. You should also not clean your house when a visitor has just left. Instead, you should wait until he arrives at his destination, or it will be believed that you are removing him from your life forever. In the same way, if you are going to give some detail, such as flowers to a loved one or the girl you like, you should do it in an odd number, since giving flowers in pairs are only for dead people. So it is better keep this information to yourself if you plan to win over someone from that country. The Brest Fortress is an exemplary architectural site built between the years 1836 and 1840. On the banks of a river to secure the western border of the former Russian Empire, it was also considered the largest fortress complex of the time, and it is no less, since the Battle of the Brest Fortress was fought in this fortress between German forces and the Soviet Union during World War II. It was not easy for the Germans to subdue the castle, as the battle lasted more than a month and a half until the Soviets were finally defeated. Without a doubt, a work of architectural art. This nation is famous for its Pancake Festival, a week-long event known as Maslenitsa Week, a festival of Slavic origin, and which is celebrated the last week before Lent of the Christian religion. Pancakes are prepared in every home, and it is shared among friends and family. The streets of the nation are no exception with local street festivals. There is no doubt that Belarus has very peculiar customs. And added to the beautiful atmosphere that this nation imparts, they make this place a dazzling place. However, the country is currently going through a serious political crisis. So much so that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs warns that you should not travel to Belarus in these aspects. But who knows, maybe in a few years, you will have the opportunity to experience the castles and national parks of this beautiful nation with your own eyes.